Volunteers, please start settling down. Good morning. Good morning. Can I have your attention, please, all of you? Yay, finally. All right, shall we start today? Yes? I know it is very exciting that we have met our old friends from all over the countryside, and that's lots to share and there's lots to talk about. But can we contain ourselves for the next couple of minutes, and then we can start our day? All right? Okay. I hope you all had a lovely walk around the campus for those of you who went on a campus tour and are settling in comfortably now to start the day. We have a number of, as you must have seen in the brochure, we have a number of speakers whom we are looking forward to hearing today. So let me invite our first speaker for the day, Ms. Tania Stewart. Apologies. Years of calling someone by their name and sudden change is a little difficult. All right. So Tania Stewart, AMI Primary Associate Trainer from Mumbai, began her Montessori journey in 2013 at Ratan Tata Institute. After extensive training, she worked with 3 to 6-year-olds in Mumbai. In 2018, Tania deepened her expertise in the AMI 3 to 6 Training of Trainers primary program. Currently, teaching in Hangzhou, China, she conducts AMI orientation and adjunct courses. Today, she is going to shed light on biophilia, a natural love for nature, and will give us insight into how it aligns with Dr. Montessori's holistic approach, emphasizing the importance of nurturing a connection with nature in children. A warm and long and loud welcome for Tania.
Thank you, Anita. Thank you, everybody. Good morning and welcome to, hold on. I need to share this. Thank you. Welcome to another morning of immersing ourselves in Prakrti. This morning I'm going to touch on the theme of nature and our inner natural love for nature, which is biophilia. So we're going to look at the origin and relationship of human beings and the natural world. Human beings, it seems, from the very beginning, have lived in close contact with nature and are connected to other forms of life. The origins of this association can be traced back to our earliest ancestors. So when we look here, we see slides. These are by Alison Betts, who is a Scottish archaeologist and academic. In the article, The Hunter's Perspective, 7th Millennium BC Rock Carvings from Eastern Jordan, she talks about how these rock carvings provide evidence of human beings' natural inclination towards natural surroundings and how human beings depended on their natural environment for survival. We have another slide where Harold Pager, an Austrian designer, artist, and photographer, in a study titled "Cave Paintings Suggest Honey Hunting Activities in Ice Age Times," describes cave paintings found in various locations like Europe, Australia, India, and South Africa. The study portrays honey hunting scenes, providing insights into the practices of Ice Age communities. Pega discusses how these artworks shed light on prehistoric honey gathering methods and the cultural significance of honey. The ways in which animals rely on nature to fulfill their needs differs from the way in which human beings use and influence the ecosystems we inhabit. We have relied on plants and animals, and over time, found ways to put them to the best use in order to facilitate and enrich our lives. We see this web of interdependence between us and human beings and the ecosystems we inhabit. Human beings are driven by what Montessori calls the human tendencies. Tendencies like imagination, curiosity, exploration, orientation, and work, amongst many others. These tendencies seem to have innately driven us to make continuous changes and improvements of nature for our benefit and comfort. As human civilization has progressed through the years, we began exerting a greater influence over the natural world. Over time, our inventions and advancements in technology also resulted in unforeseen adverse changes to the natural environment. This has led to concerns about the overall impact of our actions on the beautiful yet fragile balance of life in the world around us. And in recent decades, there has been a growing awareness of the need to restore, rebuild, and strengthen this balance with nature. I'm going to touch on the evolution of the idea of biophilia. In the 20th century, we saw mankind lived through two world wars, through the Holocaust, through the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the war in Vietnam, and other terrible catastrophes. Each of these instances was of rising concern for the need for peace and an end to the wars that were afflicting humanity. Although this cognizance for peacefulness existed, it is notable that it was in the 1960s that there came about a new movement towards peace. There was also increasing interest and a shift in attitude towards thinking about human contact with nature and how we can live in harmony with nature. Montessori says, and I quote, "But war did not become a thing of the past, because wars will end only when humanity undergoes a spiritual reconstruction." So it was during this time that biophilia as a term came to be. Biophilia is a new Latin word that was formed by two Greek combining forms that are widely used in English. Bio, from bios, life, and philia, which is love of. So in simple words, biophilia is a love of life. Biophilia was coined by the German-born psychoanalyst Erich Fromm. It was Fromm who described biophilia as an innate biological urge to preserve one's own existence. It was the American biologist, Dr. Edward O. Wilson, who in the 1970s further explained this idea as a natural inner emotion of delight and contentment that one experiences when surrounded by or in contact with all forms of life. As we explore our relationship with the natural world, it becomes evident that this connection goes beyond mere survival. Human beings have an inherent affinity for nature. We have a deep-rooted emotional and psychological bond that has shaped our evolution and continues to influence our well-being. This innate connection, also referred to as biophilia, acknowledges our instinctive attraction to the beauty of the natural world. We can draw similarities between Fromm and Wilson's notion of biophilia and Montessori's idea of the spiritual need for love that humans experience. There is an inner need in our capacity as human beings to seek and extend this love, not only to our fellow humans, but also to animals and plants and inanimate things, that may they be a mountain or even a sunrise. Had we not expressed this spiritual love for nature, we would have probably destroyed the earth a long time ago. We look at the impact and studies of biophilia, and considering our modern lifestyles and societal structures, we have become increasingly distanced from nature. This has led to a disconnect, which has deep implications for our overall physical, mental, and emotional health. So Bjørn Grinde, a Norwegian biologist, and Grete Grindal Patil from the Norwegian University of Life Sciences wrote a journal article named Biophilia: Does Visual Contact with Nature Impact on Health and Well-Being? In the article, they emphasize how contact with nature, whether through outdoor activities, therapeutic horticulture, or simply having a view of nature, has a beneficial effect on our physical as well as mental well-being. Their insights explore the distinction between visual and non-visual effects of nature exposure and focus on the importance of the visual experience of plants in improving well-being. Studies on indoor environments reveal that incorporating plants, even in workplace settings, can lead to positive outcomes that would include stress reduction, improved performance, and decreased health complaints. On the other hand, restrictions from access to nature in our daily lives can lead to feelings of isolation, stress, apprehension, and a feeling of separation from the world around us. So in recognizing the significance of our relationship with the natural world, there seems to be a growing interest to restore and strengthen this bond. By recognizing and embracing our interconnectedness with nature, we can cultivate a sense of responsibility towards the environment. This encourages us to shift our perspective and adopt a more holistic approach, which values experiences based on nature. We come to looking at the correlation between Montessori's educational aims and biophilia. Mario Montessori, in the article The Human Tendencies and Montessori Education, mentions that Montessori's educational aims for the child were multifold. She seems to have laid importance on a balance between physical development as well as the social, emotional, ethical, and spiritual development of the child. She was of the idea that a balance between these aspects leads to an individual who is adapted and stable and therefore in harmony with himself and his environment. Fabrizio Bertolino, an environmental educator, and Manuela Filippa, a researcher at the University of Geneva, wrote a paper titled The Pedagogy of Nature According to Maria Montessori. In the paper, they touched on how Montessori advocated for the observation of children's spontaneous behaviors in conditions of freedom. This allows their true nature to come forth. Montessori asserted that nature guides the children's developmental stages through the sensitive periods for learning. She also emphasized the importance of education aligning with the unfolding of human nature. Nature, for Montessori, was not just a subject of study, but an essential component of a child's education. She was of the view that the natural world serves as a source of inspiration for the children's imagination and creativity. In the article Nature in Education, Maria Montessori underscores the vital connection between education and nature. Montessori was of the opinion that the children's strength and vitality truly shine when they have the freedom to engage with nature. Montessori shares several examples of children where they enthusiastically engage with nature. She talks about how some children had, over a period of time, they had fed and provided water to doves and hens that were incubating their eggs. And when the eggs hatched, the children displayed the feelings of affection and they had an eagerness to continue offering help. So what they did is they gathered pieces of straw, old cotton cloths, and wadding for the nesting birds. Montessori also said that another child had minutely observed the growth of tadpoles and could describe the various stages of growth like a miniature scientist. So her observations suggest that children's interactions with nature should be diverse and driven by their interests and needs. She emphasizes the point that caring for the plants and animals not only delights children, but also teaches them important life lessons about responsibility and foresight. She said that when children realize that animals and plants depend on them for care, it connects the children's present actions with future consequences. We come to looking at the benefit of including biophilic designs in Montessori environments. Montessori saw the whole earth as a prepared environment for humans to not only survive, but thrive in. And the Montessori prepared environments for children from birth to 6 to 12, and 12 to 18 years are carefully sculpted through Montessori's guiding principles, where the children can live, they can engage with and explore their natural surroundings in freedom, thus supporting autoeducation. In the children between the ages of birth to 6 years, Montessori talks extensively about how they experience sensitive periods, which help in the creation, consolidation, and construction of the human being. The children's survival is guided by these unseen forces, which help them shape their being and enable them in the task of self-creation. These children are also termed as sensorial explorers and need an environment that permits them to interact with each other, whereby they can engage their senses and they can learn through freedom and independence. Most of the research we have for children